Last night, the long-running shonen anime One Piece released its 1015th episode to the world, and to put it mildly, it was kind of the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. And the real plot twist here is that I haven't actually watched it yet. Now, you being someone from the future when this video is uploaded might have seen this episode already and can confirm it was the greatest thing to ever be put forth in the history of mankind, but you're wondering, how did I know that? How would I be able to guess that this seemingly random 1015th episode of this long-running series that's been on air for almost the past 23 years would suddenly just be the greatest thing to grace the series as a whole? And there's a short answer and a not-so-short answer. The short answer is that I follow the industry relatively closer than your average viewer, and I knew what kind of people were making this week's episode ahead of time. I mean, you don't see one of the best animators in the industry saying this kind of thing about an episode, saying that he's rarely come across something like this in his entire career, and that he's about to be part of an important historical event and not expect something truly out of this world. But the not so short answer is that there has been a talent in Toei Animation, a, no exaggeration, world-class prodigy that has been continuously, without fail, releasing some of the most well-produced and directed episodes of anime that I have seen in my entire life. Someone who last year somehow managed to oversee 2 theatrical-level productions in the midst of a series that releases new episodes every single week. Someone who has one of the strongest artistic visions and general understandings of cinematic cadence and flourishes that I have ever seen. This is Megumi Ishitani, and mark my words, if you have not heard of her before now, she will be one of the greatest anime directors to work in the industry, and she is responsible for episode 1015 of One Piece. Now, before we dive into Ishitani herself, though, I do want to mention that One Piece itself has kind of undergone its own transformation the past couple of years. It might sound absurd that a long-running series can have episodes that look like movies just randomly released at a whim, but the most recent Wano arc of the series has actually been kind of a production anomaly in itself. It does have some of the inconsistent quality that you would expect from a long runner, but at the same time, I don't think anyone could have anticipated the absolute peaks that this series could reach from a production standpoint, and on a pretty regular basis at that. And of those peaks, none are higher or have made as big of an impact as every single episode that Megumi Ishitani has been in charge of so far. If you're up to date with Wano, you may think back on a few episodes and remember the times when the quality just completely skyrocketed in a way that was unexpected. Episode 957, episode 982, and now episode 1015. And beyond just the quality of animation, which obviously Wano has plenty of in plenty of other episodes, what makes these episodes special in particular might be harder to put your finger on. There's just something about them that when you look at them, they just appear more movie-like. There's a stronger presence and image that is really leaving an impression. And I don't want to come across like I'm grandstanding here. I'm not a production expert, but I want to talk about why these episodes may stand out to people and why Ishitani is the one responsible for making them stand out. On every single episode so far, Ishitani has been responsible for both the episode direction and the episode storyboards, and both of those are hugely important for how everything is communicated within the episode itself. Obviously, directors, episode direction, that is the main person in charge. They have the final say on pretty much every single creative outlet on that episode. What music is used, how long a scene should last, what specific motifs and themes should be used to convey the story that's being adapted. It's a huge responsibility, and you can see in every Ishitani episode so far that she has a masterful understanding of how to structure, transition, and present the story that she's adapting in a way that not only lives up to its source material, but exceeds it. She uses very smart cinematic techniques that elevate the presentation of the story and compelling motifs that enhance the emotional weight of what's being communicated. So All of that being said, a director is pretty self-explanatory, but what about storyboards? What is that, and why are they so important to the way that an episode is presented? And, well, to summarize it in a very dumb but kinda accurate way, storyboards are kind of like the camera of animation. It's something that's drawn before the animators start drawing the episode itself, and it's used as a way to figure out what a scene is actually going to look like. What is the composition? What is the pace? How are we moving along and across this scene? How are the characters moving? It's essentially the life and energy of the episode. If you've ever seen a shot in an anime that stands out to you in a way that looks interesting or moves in a cinematic way, more than likely that was the result of a very good storyboard or a very good layout. And the reason I bring all of this up here is because Megumi Ishitani is a very, very good storyboard artist, to put it lightly, and unfortunately a lot of her work has not actually been released to the public, but based on the storyboards that we have seen and the praise that some of the most talented animators in the industry have for her storyboards, not to mention just the episodes speaking for themselves, you can kind of imagine that she is just this ridiculous talent when it comes to composing scenes and making them flow in a very organic and cinematic way. I want you to look at one of the few Ishitani storyboards that we actually have from what's been released, and to somebody who doesn't know anything about storyboards, this might not really seem out of the ordinary, but now I want you to look at these storyboards from other contemporary anime, and are you starting to see why these animators are saying that this woman makes some of the most incredible storyboards in the industry? As an animator, I have to imagine that it is an absolute treat seeing storyboards this meticulous, this detailed, this creative, and being the one in charge of bringing it to life. And I have to imagine that's part of the reason why Ishitani gets so much praise among her peers. So, Megumi Ishitani, wonderful, wonderful talent, wonderful person, but where did she come from? Where does a talent like this just pop out from and start making some of the best episodes of TV anime? And to answer that, we have to look at Toei Animation as a whole, because this actually isn't the first time that something like this has happened, and it definitely will not be the last, because Toei Animation is still regarded within the industry as one of the biggest and most successful animation studios that you can join as an aspiring animator. World-class talents like Rie Matsumoto, Kodai Watanabe, Mamoru Hosoda, and probably many more that I'm not aware of, had their humble beginnings at Toei directing episodes for shows like Precure or Digimon. And that was before their talents were recognized and they went off to much bigger and more ambitious projects. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Megumi Ishitani right now. Ishitani graduated from the most respected animation course in Japan within the Tokyo University of the Arts, and during her time there she worked on several short student films that you can actually just straight up watch on YouTube right now that showcase not only her beginnings as an animator and a director, but also showcase that she has always been this immense talent and somebody who understands how to convey very emotionally impactful ideas through strong imagery and scene composition. During her time there, she mentioned that her dream, the reason why she's in this field in the first place, is because she wants to create things that communicate the appeal of animation, things that stick with you internally, viscerally, emotionally, even if you don't necessarily understand what's going on. It's like those memories from your childhood of watching a movie or a show where you weren't really following what was happening, but you still remember those scenes, those moments, because of the internal impact that they had on you. It's that ethos that I think is what's really making Ishitani's work so special and so impactful, that primary goal of creating something memorable whether you watch it with or without context. The question at this point really is, where does this industry-leading talent go from here? Because I love One Piece, don't get me wrong here, it's one of my favorite anime series of all time, but simultaneously, what I feel every time I watch a Megumi Ishitani episode within One Piece, I keep feeling like I just want to see her realize her ambitions on a much bigger scale. I want to see her helm her own series, her own movie, that she can really put her stamp on in a bigger and more creatively satisfying way. A few years ago, actually, she had the opportunity to do just that and helm her own short from Toei Animation called Jurassic, a 1-minute feature that is essentially just two characters expressing this mutual love for dinosaurs. And even back to her student film days, you can tell that the woman really loves dinosaurs. She has an idea for something dinosaur related that she really wants to make. So why not let her make it? Let this talent, who has proven herself consistently, make something that she's clearly wanted to make ever since she entered the industry. However, I won't complain if she keeps working on One Piece. I will not complain regardless of whatever she works on in the future. Hell, if they ever reboot One Piece, Ishitani is the first person I'm gonna say I would love to be the one in charge. But as far as where I stand on where I would like to see her go in the future, I want to see her rewarded for all of the amazing work that she's put into these One Piece episodes, and I want to see her given the opportunity for something much greater. Thank you all for watching. Join the Discord in the description if you want to hang out and chat, and my hunt for video editors still continues, so if you want to help me make videos like this and get paid for it, message me on Discord or Twitter and we can probably work something out. I love you all. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.